everyone, my name is Ngọc Duy Nguyễn, student ID S224916133. Today in this video, I will explain my solution for the credit task, lambda expression, and generics. So in this task, I will work with the generic class called myStack. So the generic class is a template for the actual class. It means that in the generic class we will have also all of the attributes and methods of the class. But however, in some place we will have the T placeholder. In this placeholders, when we create an actual class, for example, we create a myStack with the integers, for example, then on of the placeholder T here, for example, the arrays will take the integers elements. That is the key concept of the generics. So therefore, the generic class will allow us to work with multiple data types. So in the myStack class, I have the array T and the counts to count the number of elements in the array. In the constructor of the myStack, it will take the capacity arguments to initialize the size of the array and set the the count instant equal to 0. It means that when we initialize the array with the capacity, we will have no elements in the array now at the initial step. So in the myStack class, I have the array storing the data type T and the counts to count the number of elements in the array. When we call the constructor of the class, we give the capacity arguments. These capacity arguments will initialize the size of the array, and then we will set the count equal to 0, meaning that at the beginning there is no element in the array. So we have to use the method push to push the elements into the array of the myStack object. So in this stack, I will extend the myStack class. So I wrote 5 functions, including find on, remove on, max, and means. And now I will explain x function. So in the find method, it will take the criteria arguments. I will explain a little bit about the criteria arguments here. So the criteria arguments is the delegate variables. It's reference. So delegate variables always reference to a function. So this function will have the t data type as a arguments and return the Boolean value. Yeah. So if the criteria is null, I will do the argument null exception and ring the error. And if the criteria reference to the valid function, then I will access each element in the array and check if there is any, and check the first elements that satisfy the criteria and return that element. If there is no elements in the array that satisfy the criteria, I will return the default values of the T data type. The file on method. So in the file on method, it's work the same with the file, but the difference is, but however, the files always return the first value that satisfy the criteria. For the file on, I will return on of the value that satisfy the criteria stored in the array and return to the user. So, however, the problem is that we do not know how many elements that will satisfy the criteria. So it is really hard for us to store these elements into the array first, because the size of the array is fixed. So to resolve this issue, I will use the list. I will use the list first, because the list is dynamic, dynamic. So we don't have to worry about the size. So after that, my idea is that I store all of the satisfied elements into the list and finally copy them into the values array. So what I will do, first I will check if the criteria is equal to none. I will throw the exception and bring the error. It is the same with the find method. And then if the criteria are reference to the following function, then I will access all elements of the array and check if there is any elements that satisfy the criteria, and if it does, I will add these elements into the list. If there is no elements satisfy the criteria, it means that there is no elements into the list, and then I will create the none. So if there is if it doesn't, I will then initialize the values array with the size equal to the number of elements into the list, and then I assign each of position into the values array equal to the elements into the list, and then finally create the values array. So in the remove method, this method take the arguments also criteria. It is the same with find and find on. And in the remove on method, it will remove all of the elements that satisfy the criteria. So I create a count variable to count how many elements is removed from the array. First, I check if the criteria is none or not. If the criteria is none, I will throw the argument exception and bring the method to the user. If criteria is now not none, it means that criteria reference to the following function. So now I access all of the elements in the array and find which element is satisfy the criteria. So then I increase the count variable by 1. So in order to remove the elements from the array, I use the techniques that I learned from SIT 102. Is that I will shift the entire array one step back, and then I assign the last element with the none or default value, and then I decrease the size of the array. So here, as you can see, that's for the loop. I step on of the elements of the array one step back, and then I assign the last elements as the default value of t data type, and then I decrease the size of the array. Then finally, I return the number of elements that that are removed from the array. And finally, I write two functions called max and min. The problem is that because this is a generic class, so it can take any of data type. And the problem is not all of data type is can be compared. Not all of data type can compare. So that's why we have to use the comparer. So the comparer can know if a data type can compare or not. So it can rule the exception if a data type cannot compare. So firstly, I will check if in the array there is no elements. I will rule the exception is the invalid operation exception, and will notify the user that the stack is now empty, so we cannot compare anything. And as I create a compare object, then to find the max values of the arrays, first I assign the first element of the arrays as the max value, and if is there any elements in the array that's greater than the max, then the max will equal to that element. In the condition statements, I use the compare methods of the comparer. So in this task, because we use the account data type, so the account data type does not have the default, does not have the default compare logic. So we have to, in the account, we have to write something more. So I write a compare to account to let the compiler knows how to compare account data type. So in this case, we compare the balance of the accounts. And after compare, if we return the max value, and this is also the same with the mean. To show you how the max and the mean work in the tester, I can put the breakpoint here. Sorry. Yeah, in the find min and max. So here, and run the program. So now, as you can see that first, this will go to the generics class, because we have elements in the array now. So the count is greater than 0, so it's not rule the exception. Then we add a comparer, the comparer object. Then assign the mean value of the account equal to the first element. And here now, because the comparison between two accounts does not have the default in the compare. So now it will go to the account class to compare, and then go back to the my stack. That is how the means and the max work. and after compares each of elements, each of the balance with each other, it will read the means. It will return the means and the max of yes. So the minimum balance is from the account name Ngọc Hung, and with the balance is $12. So now I will show. So now I will show you how to create a criteria in to find an account. So for example, I have to I want to create a say criteria 8. So to create a criteria 8, I have to first declare it as a function delegate. So this function delegate will reference to a function that have the account arguments and will return the Boolean value. So the delegate's name is criteria 8 equal to is how to reference to the function. So the function here, I want to use the concept of Lamba expression. So what is Lamba expression? Lamba expression is an anonymous function. It's only take the inputs and map to the expression. That is all Lamba expression. So for example, in the criteria, I would to input a X account, and what I want to do is I want to know that the balance of this account is greater than 1000 or not. So if this Lamba expression means that this will take the X as the account data type and will perform, it will compare. So expression here is the comparison between the balance of the account and 1000. If it's true, it will return true or false as the Boolean values. That is our criteria 8. So for example, to implement this, to use this criteria, I will write so this is stack and file on. So we want to use the criteria 8 and then run. So we find this is the account name Ngọc Bích with the credit card, and the balance is 1,500. So that is what how we can write the criteria by declare the function delegates and use the Lamba expression. So that is all of my explanation. If you have any question, just comment below and I will answer.